Trading with $500 is not going to be easy. You're not going to turn it into tens of thousands of dollars overnight, but there are some steps you can actually take to make the process of becoming a profitable trader that much easier. And I'm going to give you those in today's video. I do want to remind you that if you only have $500 and you see other people online, it could be my videos, it could be other people on social media flexing their cars, flexing their, $15,000 watches, their 20K trading days, you need to completely eliminate the comparison of your journey to theirs. One of the main reasons for this is they could be trading for 10 years. They could have dedicated everything they have all in on trading. And you're in a position where you want to do it in a safer route. You want to have a job, have income, and then you use side money to learn how to trade. So you never really know what someone is going through. So if you only have $500 to learn to trade, then that's completely fine. Don't expect to have the same returns as someone who doesn't only have $500 to start trading. That's just something I wanted to get out of the way before we get into the proper points in this video. So the first point in the video kind of relates to the point I was just making, and you need to trade small. You need to learn the skill set. The best way to learn a skill set is by focusing on the skill set. It sounds quite stupid, but it's the truth. Focusing on making money, focusing on flipping your account is not going to help you learn the skill set. However, focusing on trading whilst also developing your edge in the markets is a good way to go about it. The difference between focusing on your skill set versus flipping the accounts is when you are focusing on developing your edge, you are going to be focused on the results. You're going to be focused on the data that the trading is actually giving you. And is this data aligned with your backtested data, for example, or the data collection that you've been doing that is giving you a strategy to take live? If you are trading live, you're trading with a small account, you're not going to really care about the profits as much as you would if you went in with your life savings of, let's say, 10K, 50K, 100K. You're not going to care as much if you're only trading with $250, which is an amount I would recommend starting with. The reason I suggest $250 is because let's say you only have $500 to trade with. You're firstly not going into the account with everything you have spare, which is a mistake most people actually make when they're going into trading. And also you can't risk manage with less than that. You can't trade with $100 and practice proper risk management. You can't do that with $200. You can't really do it with $250, but it's kind of the starting point. You can maybe risk $1.50 or $2.50 per trade and kind of work out your risk management if your stop loss is, of a decent size, let's say. And once you've actually traded this small account, and let's say you start with $250, like I mentioned, and you make some profits, you're 3 to 6 months in and you've made, let's say 2 to 3% per month. That is very, very good going. It might not seem a lot because it is on your small account, but you just need to take into consideration the fact that if you multiply that account up to that $250 account to $250,000 account, it might sound quite outlandish at the moment, but prop firms are an easy way to actually get to $250,000. So for this example, let's say $250, you make 2% per month for 3 months, assuming you're not compounding. That's quite a nice $15 profit you've made. Whereas if you put that on a $250,000 account, that's no longer $15 for 3 months profits. You've now made $15,000 from the exact same trades. And that's why focusing on the skill set and not the profits is the most important way to go about your trading. Because let's say instead of making that 2% consistently and developing an edge in the markets that is able to do that long term, instead you focused on flipping your account, you risked 25% per trade, and then you ended up blowing it. That strategy that you could have traded perfectly and consistently to then scale up in the future, you now don't think it works because you lost it on an account flip, which again means your strategy is completely thrown out the window as a direct result of your mismanagement of the account size. And the next point is, if you lose, just go back to your testing. If you're collecting data for your strategy, it doesn't perform as well in the live markets as you would have expected. Firstly, you need to consider the fact that it could be you as a trader that is making the trading not work. It could be your psychology in the markets. Are you even able to follow your strategy for a week, 4 weeks, 8 weeks? You need to consider the fact that perhaps you as a trader, you're not fully developed yet. You're not a profitable trader, even though you have a profitable strategy. And this is the case for a lot of people that are probably watching this video right now. So if that is the case, and it is you as a trader, then you just need to develop yourself. You need to journal your thoughts during a trade, your mindset, why you're making these decisions, and then try and learn from them. If you're not disciplined and self-aware about the problems you are actually causing for your strategy, then you will never be able to grow. It's the same as if the data is wrong and your strategy isn't actually profitable. You can go back and say, oh, I need to change something. Oh, I need to maybe start from scratch again and see what I can do from here. I would say that you could buy a course with the money, but if you only have $500 and that is it, including your trading money, then it probably is not the best way to go about your trading. Whereas if you have a little bit more spare, let's say $1,000, I would probably suggest you use 25% or 50% of that to go towards a course. When I was a beginner, I tried to learn without a course and it was very, very difficult. The main reason why I think courses are good for traders, and not just traders, in any industry or hobby you're trying to develop yourself in, you're learning from one person who is already in a position that you're in, and everything is in one easily accessible place. Whether it be a course website or a Discord community, everything is there and you can learn everything at once from one person, which I feel like is easier than learning from 5 different people that are teaching 5 different ways and 5 different pieces of content. If I was looking to become a professional tennis player right now, and I was looking to get Carlos Alcaraz's coach, but then I also wanted to get coaching from Yannick Sinner's coach, they're going to teach me different things. They have different play styles. They don't have the same strengths. So I'm going to learn from one. Okay, I'm picking up that now. Okay, then I'm going to learn from another. Oh, so now they do this differently, so I'm going to change. Because if you're learning from one person rather than 5 different content creators in the Forex niche, then it is going to be a lot more difficult for you. And I'd obviously suggest my course. There's a link in the description. And the traders in there are absolutely killing it. So you can join if you want. But if you only have $500 for your complete trading journey, then you probably can learn just from my YouTube videos on my main Forex channel. And let's say this $250 account that you've traded live actually is profitable. What do you do now? Well, I would say, personally, I would put more money in. So I'd add an extra $50, an extra $100. Because you have that amount spare, then you can add it in and see, okay, now my losses are a little bit bigger. Now my wins are a little bit bigger. And obviously it's not going to be a substantial gain because it could turn from $2.50 wins to $3.50. It's not a substantial gain, but percentage wise, it will be quite a large increase, which you can get used to on a smaller account size, especially when looking at the data after you trade, because you're most likely going to be doing this in percentage or return on investment rather than the dollar amount, because it's not really applicable at this stage. And then just see how you do. And after this stage, if you're still profitable, you're still grinding along, making profits consistently, this is the only stage where I would say, only at this point would I say you are ready for prop firms, if you're able to consistently trade after scaling up your capital. If I was in this position right now, I would only use the profits from my personal capital to purchase a prop firm challenge. And I would start very, very small. I'm talking 10K or 25K accounts. I'm not talking about spending all of the $500 on a 50K or 100K account. I think this is quite a reckless decision to make, especially when you are a beginner, especially as you've only traded less than $1,000. You're not going to be suddenly able to trade $50,000 or $100,000. People think that it's just trading the same strategy, but if it was that easy, then everyone that's backtested a good strategy over the past few years should be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. But as you know, because you're watching this video, that is definitely not the case, especially in this very, very competitive industry. And then after this, you're going to hopefully pass the prop firm challenges, phase 1, phase 2, and then get a payout on the funded stage. And this will then give you the opportunity to invest in more prop firm challenges. So let's say you make profit on the $10,000 challenge, you can then scale up to a $25,000 challenge. If you make profit on this one, maybe go up to a 50K or 100K or then 200K, 400K. And then the ultimate goal is to get that maximum allocation with various different reputable firms in the industry. This is achieved by following their scaling plans. You have to reach a certain profit amount in a certain time period with no blown accounts. I feel like this is the best way for the majority of traders who don't have income outside of trading to scale to multi 6 figures per year from trading income. And probably the only way if you're not scaling your personal account alongside, which is another point on how to increase your capital. I would say using your prop firm profits to reinvest into your personal account is always a good way to go about your trading. Not only are you doubling your winners, you're also making it so that you don't have to rely on prop firms to get paid. Let's say a mishap happens. Let's say disaster strikes. That prop firm you're trading with, you have 400k in funding and they shut down. What is your next move? If you haven't been growing a personal account alongside trading the prop firms, you're going to be completely stuck. You might have investments, you might have cash in the bank, but that money that has just been sitting there or has been growing in investments, you're now going to have to put that to use and actually trade that money and put it at risk in the live markets with your own trades. But if you're already trading one alongside and you're already growing it, you're used to trading your own money. That's 100% yours. Any losses you make, you're liable for those losses. Whereas on a prop firm account, if you blow the account, you can just buy another one. It's literally that simple. But if you put in all the work to pass the challenges, get funded payouts, then you're relying on that account because you feel like it's going to last forever. And as we've seen from the past few years, getting PTSD even thinking about it, but these big firms can shut down. They can have liquidity issues. They can suddenly shut up shop and completely disappear. And that's something we have to expect, even from the most reputable firms in the industry. So growing other investments and your personal accounts alongside your prop firm capital is always a good bet. And in my opinion, there aren't really any downsides to doing so. It'll get you used to trading live capital where real money is on the line. And if you are profitable, it will just double your profits anyway. What you could do is trade a master account, which is your personal capital, and then have your prop firm challenges and your funded accounts as slave accounts. And this means that your personal account is copied over to those slave accounts. So any trades you take on your personal account will be copied over and duplicated on those accounts. And if you set a risk filter, no matter the account sizes you're actually trading with, it will calculate the perfect risk that you have set it. So whether you're setting it as 1% risk or 2% risk, or maybe some accounts you want a higher risk if you run a challenge or a phase 2, you can also set this. And that makes it quite easy to trade one account, but it's actually being copied over to 5, 10, 20 accounts that aren't visible on your trading platform. And then once you have done this, you're kind of set. And this is the way to fully profitable trading, where you're making the 6 figures, 7 figures, when you're able to buy expensive watches, when you're able to basically live life and enjoy. And that is the stage that I want you all to get to. And hopefully you can do so. And then let me know how you do. Be sure to check out this video because YouTube thinks that is the best video for you to watch next. And if you are liking the videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel and I'll catch you guys in the next one.